Good afternoon, West Ham fans. Russ on the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well, my friends. Happy Friday. We're making it through the week. And West Ham can't ruin it until Sunday when we play Bournemouth in the last of the summer series. And they're in Atlanta. My second favourite US city. I like Atlanta. Good food. And I should know if you see the size of me. This morning, bit of a different video. Spoke about Lexi, who is he's a 13-year-old, same age as Flo, and she's a hammer, and she's really not very well, and she's diagnosed with a really, really rare and aggressive type of cancer. So we've go back and check out that video. There's links to how you can help. From a financial perspective, if you can, brilliant. If you can't, we'll put loads of stuff on Twitter and Facebook, and so if you can retweet that, or repost it, like it, so we can get more people to help donate. That'll be absolutely fantastic. But there's a link to the GoFundMe, but also there's a link to win to a raffle with everything going. There's no where previously, obviously, with raffles we sort of take how much it costs to buy the shirt. We've donated the shirt, so it's 100% everything raising that will go to Lexi's GoFundMe. But anyway, let's talk about transfers. It seems futile, as I said, but let's talk about transfers. That's why you've tuned in. And I think we're going to see a real point from Monday onwards. And I know people go, "Oh, I'm the same. We've had so many weeks of the transfer window opening. Why haven't we bought as many players as we thought we were going to do?" Now, I think they're trying to get this US tour out of the way. And then from Monday onwards, I think you'll see a real acceleration in our acceleration, not exaggeration. They exaggerate a lot. We've been linked to 188 players, but accelerate the process. Particularly, we've got 2 weeks until the first game of the season. We'll have Lille next Saturday as well in the BS Cup, which is what I'm calling it, absolute BS. And we've been told, according to senior source reports, that West Ham have multiple bids in for players. Now, one of those we believe is Mads Hermansen. We're going to talk about in a minute. While another is thought to be an unnamed midfielder. Earlier this evening, or yesterday evening, a London Stadium from Clarence Hughes spokesperson was asked whether the club would need to sell players before making any bids. The response was telling. They said there are bids in for players now. We don't want the rivals to know our plans, so we're not going to reveal the names. That's brilliant. That's exactly what we want, And actually, we like to be surprised. I remember the signing of Areola on loan, I think, and it was completely out of the blue. I was in a hotel in London, and then Stell and Anton just sent the picture of it to me. It was just so out of the blue. I was like, oh, brilliant. But with social media and ITKs and stuff, it's so difficult for clubs to. That's why I think a lot of names they put out are smoke screens, and are names for players who, we wouldn't mind, but actually, it's agents doing us a favor to get their client's name out there, but it's not their client they want, it's the other client, and that type of thing. A lot of skullduggery happens behind the scenes, and I know it's incredibly frustrating, but it isn't just our club. As I was saying, I was listening to the Everton Toffee TV. Ped, love him. Ped is such a nice guy, and John there, and he was talking about what they were doing, and it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same, but we are in a bubble, pardon the pun, so we think it's only West Ham, but it isn't, I promise you. Now, in terms of players, we believe as a goalkeeper is one of the positions. There's an assumption that Mads wants to move to West Ham, and offers and discussions are ongoing with Leicester. Looks like some sort of compromise. Leicester want about 30 million. I think we're about 25 million. For a 25-year-old goalkeeper, I don't think 25 million is bad at all. Nowadays it's a decent number for buying a decent player in it, rather than necessarily extortionate. We were one of the players we were offered to, because obviously people know we need a goalkeeper. It's quite obvious because Fabianski's not there anymore now, and Areola showed why we need another goalkeeper. John Victor from Botafogo. He was offered to West Ham following a very impressive series of performances at the Club World Cup and a very impressive Brazilian season so far. The 29-year-old is considered to be the most informed keeper in South America and a serious candidate for a European move. So much so that he's now got super agent Willie McKay, who is pushing for a move for Victor, and he has been offered to West Ham, and it's believed he'd be available for around half the price that Mads will be offered for. He's also being linked to a move to Man United, which I think is probably more likely now, because I think Mads is clearly Potter's choice. The age is better. He's better with the ball at his feet as well, and that's a decisive factor of Potter in terms of bringing in a goalkeeper. So it'll be, it's interesting to see other names have been offered, but probably I've just seen a massive pigeon walk across. About that big, fucking hell. As maybe 5 years ago, we probably would have bought him because he's cheaper. But I still think there's Mads will be our goalkeeper by the time the season starts, and hopefully a bit sooner, which would be great. Another name would be believed is part of that sort of those bids is Jacob Ramsey. It's understood, according to reports, that West Ham have made a very strong pitch to Ramsey in terms of why he should join West Ham. However, we could miss out on that, as he is prepared to stay at Aston Villa unless a club challenging for European qualification and silver approaches them. Now, you could suggest, obviously, last year was a very poor year, and finishing 14th makes the deal look very difficult. However, we do the Potter factor. Now, don't laugh, because actually, if you listen to what the likes of Füllkrug have been saying, if you listen to the likes of all of the players have been saying, Potter is a very good people person. Now, I think Dave mentioned it in one of these podcasts from the West Ham way, but I know it firsthand. The first day back at pre-season, Potter did this presentation to not just the players but to the entire staff, and I know one of the staff members who was in there who said, I felt like fucking 10 feet tall when I left out that room. He's a very good manager, and for someone like Jacob, he needs to be playing regular football. If he wants any chance of cementing a spot in the England squad for the World Cup, he needs to be playing regular football. It's a good opportunity. It's not his only opportunity, but it's a good opportunity this season. So he's one of the top performers in the Premier League last season, and given the stakes and their confidence to turn his head, we could be in a stronger position than we think we are. Again, we'll wait and see. It seems the money's on the table. It seems a deal there to be had. It just seems to be whether we can convince the player. Now, we've done it before. We look at 𝗟𝗨𝗡𝗧𝗏. It was obviously under Tim Steinden's sort of tenure in terms of convincing him, particularly as he wanted to go to Juventus, but that didn't happen. And he picked West Ham, and he seems to be loving life as a Hammer, which is great. So let's keep an eye on that one. But it does seem to be one of Potter's top targets in that midfield position. Now let's talk about Callum Wilson. Now, there has been, I think it was on Clarence Hugh, I think Sean put it on West Ham Football on Twitter, what deal has been offered to him, or believed to be. So we're led to believe it is 90% based on performance-related pay, with a basic wage believed to be under 10k a week. Now, I think he was on something like 60k at Newcastle. So, it could be between 6 and 10k a week basic. And then the rest, including the agent's fees, apparently, is due to performance-related pay. So there are suggestions that there's going to be no agent signing on fee for the agent until certain performance parameters have been met. It does appear that the player is keen to join. But again, you know, I see the way that Callum Marshall is playing and the opportunities taken. You think bringing in someone like Wilson, and it depends around the progression of Marshall. Do I think he's ready to step up? Possibly. He's having a great pre-season, but it's different when you're playing in the Premier League. Now, hear me out. I'm not saying we should sign Callum Wilson at all. But if it does happen, it could give the opportunity for Callum to go to a top championship side and play a season on loan. Wilson could be on a 1-year deal, then Callum comes in ready to take that mantle on. I don't know. That would be how I could see that playing out. Do I agree that's the right way? No. I think in terms of the role that Callum Marshall will play, he could, you know, I think he's played enough league football now to be able to step up. There will be cup games where he can start. He may drop into the 21s occasionally to keep match fit, and then, you know, bring into the match day squad and be that Danny Ings position on the bench if that's what he wants. He might want another season of playing 40 games in the Championship, which he can more than happily do to a Norwich or someone, you know. Norwich has, you know, Borja Signs has gone to Porto. You know, there could be opportunity there. You know, there's opportunities there, but I'm not too sure. I think there would. And again, there's still the question mark for me of whether this whole Wilson deal is smoke and mirrors in order for him to get a move to the Saudi Pro League, and then obviously 𝗟𝗪𝗡 gets more money, because he will get more money doing that. And, you know, he's in it to make money, and so that would seem an obvious power play. But I don't know. We don't know, and that's the thing, and that's the frustrating thing with these things is, you know, we've also linked again with the move for Josh Brownhill. Nothing's with that's happened either. So again, we don't know. I think a lot of these deals, these types of deals, these freebies, are likely to happen towards the end of the transfer window when we need cover. If we've moved people out or we need some more bodies in the squad, we'll wait and see. Can I just also, we spoke about the charity stuff for Lexi, but Fantasy Football League is up again and running. There's the FPL code. I think Holly's put and on the West Ham Network Twitter feed. They'll have the feed, the link in order for you to join. We'll have monthly prizes to be won with our new friends at Premier Sports Prince. And yeah, I put my team in. Bottom of the league, probably. Know me. Got too many West Ham players in. That's trouble. Anyway, take care. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay humble. Much love. Bye.